goal was to get everybody to this park. Really showcase our park, bring the community together. Like I said, I think events and bringing the community closer really helps build wakeboarding. I think event attendance is huge.
Yeah.
Bringing people together is huge. That was really the goal of this, and I thought the only way that I can get people to come to Kansas is if we go get the money and throw a huge purse.
I approve waterboarding.
They're talking about wakeboarding. The thing about wakeboarding, every trick is an invert.
Backside.
Air railies.
A new dimension.
All right, we are back. Another episode of the Grab Matters podcast. Today, we are at KC Watersports, live on scene, post Kansas City field party. We are joined by recurring guest Quinn Silvernale, owner-operator of Valdosta Wake Compound, all-around great wakeboarder, legend in the game. So we have him here. We also have Todd Allen. Technically, what's your role here, Todd? You're the manager of KC. What's your position?
Title is general manager.
General manager. All right. Yeah. So we're going to be diving into a lot today. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the event that just happened here, the Kansas City field party, everything behind that. We had some big-name riders show up, so it's definitely some interesting things played out in terms of the contest itself. Probably talk a little bit about the setup as well and everything to do with Kansas City, and then obviously we'll dive into a bunch of other stuff. We got Slings Hot Takes, we got the LF'n Hot Seat, we got all sorts of stuff we're going to dive into, but I think we just start with we got this big check here behind us. So purse was $3,000 for first place. That's a meaty first place prize purse for American cable contest standards, I would say. Quinn, is that fair to say in terms of the grand scheme of things? So we love to see that.
Yep.
And the total purse for this, before we kind of dive into it, Todd, was what?
So we added some money at the end. I think we broke 10 grand total in cash that we gave away.
Yeah.
Men's and women's purse, we were around like 8,200.
Okay.
Yep.
Love to see that. Love to hear that. And there were some fun, there was a Cash for Tricks that was on Friday night. Obviously, we did a Best Grab, World Tour stop here, and that's always fun. And then as well as the main event with the women's and the men's purse, and you guys paid down to 6, so it was pretty good. You had a women's, bracket, which is always cool to see as well. So we got Trent's, check here, but where's Gavin's check? Because obviously they're flying home, so it's not realistic to take the checks back, but these were buddy-buddy to start the night sitting out in the lawn after they won and immediately left. So where's Gavin's check?
Gavin's check, some people who were partying and wanted to party with Gavin, I think, decided that they were going to body slam his check, draw penises on it, and hang it from the wall. So the people decided, and that went down. That happened.
Yeah, so that we know the 10% rule. It's been, floating around the wakeboard world and snowboard world forever. It's you spend 10% of your earnings at the bar on the rest of the crew. It's kind of the standard, if you will. And obviously that standard was not followed last night. Are there any retributions or what? I don't even know the word that comes from that, Next year if they come back, is it the 20% rule? Like what, does it add up?
We might have to auto-grat the 10%.
I love this.
The 10% gets taken out. You have your tab at the bar, and then we write you the check. Maybe that's the way that we need to start doing this.
I do love that. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Autograt. So you can advertise you get $3,000 for first, but, there's a little baked-in situation there, which is, maybe forcing some people to attend the field party act part of the Quinn, you were big on that, the field party aspect of it. Kind of dive into that a little bit.
There's a bit of a discussion. I came into the camper, ready to go to bed. Hunter John and Gavin Giulio are in there having a discussion. They're talking about, like, if people are going to, take off after the contest and this and that. And I'm like, well, it is the field party. So I think that's a big, it kind of goes against the event. It just gave you earned it, but they also just handed you a $3,000, $2,000, $1,000 check. So yeah, I think the party was kind of. Todd will tell you.
Yeah, Todd. This is a real question. Does it kind of suck to see the entire men's podium leave immediately after the contest?
Yeah.
You can be honest. You can be totally honest. If it doesn't suck, that's okay too.
No, it does. They showed up. They threw down. They gave the spectators what they wanted. It's the best wakeboarding I've seen at this cable. Best wakeboarding I've seen in a long time. They did what they needed to do as pro wakeboarders, but this event was more than the riding. We had a DJ on Friday night, live band on Saturday night.
Awesome, too.
We were creating the environment to have a party in a field in Kansas. And I think events should be about bringing the community together. And if people in that community aren't hanging out, then we're not really bringing the community together.
Yeah. I think that's very well put there, Todd. So
To be fair, the party did not miss. I mean, it was.
Oh, no, it was a banger.
Yeah,
still.
it was ripping.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was a great time.
And Stefano won the
What was the
life
award?
of the party, right?
So Stefano won Life of the Party. Originally, Life of the Party was a $150 bar tab. That got up to, I believe, $300, and I think he closed out at like $276.
Love to see it.
So
Yeah. I love all the little aspects, the little side, things you can win. And Stefano, if you know Stefano Camalo, primarily kind of a boat guy for sure. Obviously rips on the cable as well, but that's kind of his lane. But some of those outliers guys were here, which is awesome to see. Brett Powell, a local legend here, been riding for a long time. He was here as well. So let's talk about the field, the people, the riders, because when you do a purse like this, you hit him with the 3-2-1. I think it was the top 3 purse, but you paid down to 6. So, it's a sizable purse. If you're thinking, doing the math, if you're going to try and win this, you book the flight, you get the rental car maybe, and you get a hotel. It's like, oh, well, if I win, it comes out well on top. So was that the goal? What was the goal with the purse,
the goal was to get everybody to this park. Really showcase our park, bring the community together. Like I said, I think events and bringing the community closer really helps build wakeboarding. I think event attendance is huge.
Yeah.
Bringing people together is huge. That was really the goal of this, and I thought the only way that I can get people to come to Kansas is if we go get the money and throw a huge purse.
Yeah.
And it's good for the sport, but it's also, you got to give people a reason to come here. And then once they come here, they realize, oh, well, this was sick. But,
Yeah, and I guess for the international listeners or people who are not super familiar with the geography of America and the location of cable parks, Kansas is basically like kind of dead set in the middle almost, a little bit east of like the Colorado zone. So it's not super far, but it's definitely out there enough where like, a Valdosta is within driving distance of a lot of places, especially Florida. Like, a lot of people drive down and, it's a very well-known park. Whereas Kansas City, it's been around. It was the 4th cable in America, but it's not super well-known right now, I think. Is that fair to say around the U.S. community?
As a rider's park, for sure.
Yeah.
As a contest traveling park, I mean, we do well. We're established, but getting people here was huge. The closest cables to us are Wake Zone in Oklahoma, 6 hours away, and West Rock in Rockford, 8.5 hours away.
Yeah.
So, we're pretty dead in the middle of the country.
Yeah, we're definitely out here in the fields having a field party, which is a great name. So I guess what sparked, you guys doing this event? Why you obviously took this job, less than a year ago or around a year ago. So what sparked being like, hey, let's throw a banger event? Why do this?
Same thing I was getting back to is that I think it's good for the sport. Getting people into, so we did our local regional contest last year, and I saw that was actually like the first week I was here, and it's just beginner through advanced, and we had 350 spectators, just local people that came out to a grassroots event. And I thought, hey, this would be sick to bring a bunch of pro riders in because we can get that spectator base and really showcase this in the Midwest, try to get more riders into it, and use it as a stepping stone to really build the park.
Yeah, absolutely. And Friday night, especially with, the Cash for Tricks and everything that was going on Friday night. I mean, you look at the shoreline, and obviously you guys have a nice bar here, nice patio to sit out on, cornhole, live music, all that stuff. But it was popping. A lot of people here. It was awesome to see.
Yeah.
Big fan of that. So, all right, let's kind of talk about the resurgence of independent contests, because I think Quinn, you and I were talking about it. And obviously, you guys have been doing yard sale at Valdosta for coming up on the 9th one. Eighth one will be the next one. 777 was the last one. So, what are your thoughts, both of you guys, on what I feel like we're seeing a resurgence of independent contests, in the sense of Kansas City is throwing its own, event with a sizable purse. Yard sale obviously has been going on for a long time. And I'm trying to do something with RGR in action, and it seems like these are where the riders want to go.
Yeah.
So I guess thoughts on that and why maybe that might be happening.
I think like the biggest part is the parks that are doing the independent contests are usually kind of dictated by the people who are involved in like the overall park. So like for us, obviously, like as owners of the park, we are all riders and we know what we want as a layout or whatever it may be, a format. Todd doing the same thing. We can do these unique sort of contests where the format's not like a cookie cutter thing. And yeah, like you have sanctioned contests through any organization and they're going to throw a format at you and it's very similar to the next one. Where these, it's like you come to yard sale, the format's completely different. This format was awesome, and like head-to-head format and with double elimination and just a new park as well. You can control the layouts and everything like that. RGR always, like you guys I think do similar format to this. But like I think that the riders really resonate with kind of like the creativity behind the contest, where it's you don't always know what you're going to expect when you pull up. I mean, we change the format pretty much all the time with yard sales. Yeah. Sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's completely different, sometimes a video. So I just think that that's what really like pushes the needle for the riders doing contests, especially if they're doing a lot. Like you're doing a lot of contests, it's like you got your contest run somewhat. Like the rails are different some places they're similar or the same. And you can kind of like routinely do it, where when you show up here, like everybody here who's from here, especially because they're the ones who've seen it from before, was like, this is the best this park has ever looked. And I mean, Todd's barely dipped his toes in like working on it, you know. And RGR, you guys do a great job of like changing everything up completely, kind of keeping it under wraps until like leading up to the contest. So it builds that excitement and stuff. So I just think that that's kind of like the way things need to go. And it's wakeboarding. There's no rule book on like how a contest has to be. So I think we really have to like continue to like push that, because it's like there's like standards as far as like what's the world title or what's the, you know, the national title, that kind of thing. But like as far as anything, like Todd could have called this the Kansas World Championships of wakeboard. You know, like it you can call it whatever you want. Yeah. And it doesn't really matter. It's how people are gonna like enjoy the park for the contest, how it's gonna make them think differently and kind of push themselves in a different way. And it's more fun that way, I think.
Todd?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I think we're in a sport where the world championships are not the most respected contest. And I think that has to do with having two governing bodies. I don't think that – I think we need to get to one governing body, but I don't know what that would look like. I think the grassroots contests are great. I think they're a great placeholder. Everybody talks about the Olympics, getting into the Olympics. I think, maybe we need more structure to get into the Olympics. But in the meantime, throwing these contests, going and getting the purse – giving the riders the ability to go make money and come to these contests is doing more than we can do. Like we're doing as much as we can to help these riders as parks, to grow the sport, to give these professional athletes a way to make money, especially those contest riders, and really, really just keep hammering at the sport and keep building it.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. You know, obviously this is going to be a pretty cable-heavy one. We're all, you know, you guys are definitely predominantly cable, but it's happening on the boat side of things as well, especially in America. I mean, we have Wake Point Open, which is a Texas one, and they're throwing, you know, I think over 30 G's at it. They did it last year. Wake Fest, Tennessee is its own thing. Brostock happened last year. Like, there are things that are happening that are independent, whereas it seems like the traditional, you know, to say boring cookie cutter might not be the best way to say it, but more or less it's just like, you know exactly what you're going to get. It's going to be the exact same thing, and there's like no character or flavor to it, where it's like, come to Kansas City for your guys' thing. You're not dictated by points chase to say you got to do this, that, and the other. It's like, no, we're going to do what we want at our thing. Yard sale, we're going to do what we want at our thing, and it's going to represent our local community, and I think it just does a lot better for the experience as well, because like when I go to Kansas City, I want to meet the Kansas City locals. I want to hang out with the people from Kansas City. Like, I don't want to have your park be constrained by this governing body of a sense of like, you know, telling you this, that, or the other format's got to be this. And I don't know, even with the bigger events like LAO and Wake Duel and stuff, it just seems like the independent ones are the ones that people care about. Nobody gives a shit about like the IWWF, WWA ones. And it's just an interesting thing to me. So, all right, let's move on to, I guess, Todd, because for the listeners, Todd Allen, if you're in the cable scene in America, I think you know who Todd Allen is. If you know, you know. But there's probably a lot. If you don't, you should. And there's probably a lot of people out there that are listening that don't know who Todd Allen is. So, Todd, run us back to the roots a little bit. I mean, obviously you spent some time at VWC, but, you know, what was the wakeboarding early days looking like?
Yeah, so I grew up water skiing behind the boat and then got up on a wakeboard when I was like 8 years old, messed around on deck boats, would just go out on the weekends, have fun. Really, I saw Terminus. We moved up to the lake when I was 17. Terminus was right down the road. Saw this park and was like, hey, this is something I want to get into. Worked at Walgreens in high school with the goal of buying a season pass at Terminus. So worked at Walgreens all winter, quit right before I graduated, bought a season pass at Terminus, rode every day for the season of 2018. And then ended up going to the University of Central Florida, pretty much to wakeboard in the winter, and then worked at Terminus for 2 summers in the summers. COVID hit, all the classes went online. I was paying out-of-state tuition. I met Quinn at the Toronto Boat Show, and he talked about doing work to ride. And I worked at Terminus the summer of 2020 for a couple months, and then went down to Valdosta on July, right before the 4th of July. In 2020, and decided to transfer to Valdosta State, buy a camper, and pretty much stayed at VWC for like 4.5 years.
And the rest is history right there.
Yeah.
Quinn, when you first met Todd, what were your first thoughts on Todd?
I just thought he was a super genuine, smart dude. I mean, you get a few drinks in him, and he can talk to you about like the construction of a airplane or something like way beyond most people's level of like understanding, and he can go for sure. I think there's definitely that Toronto Boat Show. There's definitely some late night, too many drinks conversations that were beyond my comprehension of like what I could understand. 'Cause he is like, I mean, even then, like one of the smartest dudes, like, I don't even know how he remembers the things he remembers. I still lean on Todd for stuff at the cable because, you know, you don't always do everything on the cable routinely every day. So when you have to do something, it's like, I'm pretty sure I have to do this, but let me call Todd because Todd remembers everything. So I just remember being like, man, this kid's pretty on it, and pretty quickly just demonstrated like how reliable he would be for the park, and like how much he actually cared about the park, the cable system, all of the details. And there's, you know, few people are cut from that kind of cloth. And so he was one of like the greatest assets we could have ever had at VWC, because he just kind of like really cared, and even to the point where he could remind us of like things that we needed to do, or like stuff with the cable and things like that, because his brain is always thinking about that when like we have a million things to run through. It's like the cable, the business, the operating, the customers, like so many things we have to think about. And Todd's just like losing sleep at night about like, man, the pulley on Tower 2 was like a little funny today when I was riding. Like I really got to get up there first thing in the morning, and would. And yeah, so like I think him being in this position is like one of the greatest things that could ever happen for this place. And the biggest problem I think with cable wakeboarding is we lose people to like burnout, and like they get kind of overused from the companies they work for, to where we lose these like brilliant minds like Todd. And I mean, there's several from like cable companies and stuff like that. Like cable's so small, we need those brains to stay in cable wakeboarding. So when Todd left, you know, he graduated and moved on and like got a big boy job in like tech sales, I think. And, it's a natural progression of growing up and stuff. So it wasn't like any like skin off any of our backs. It was just like, dang, I guess this is the new chapter.
Good one,
yeah. And then when he called, I think, a year ago or something, you called me and like told me that I might be getting a call from Sean about potentially looking into Todd to be GM. It was like, oh, this is perfect, and there's no way he's not getting this job.
Yeah.
And I mean, this week was super surreal to see just like the work he's put in already here and the impact it's made, and like hearing all those locals talk about how great the park looked. And it's like he's working with what he's got right now, but like when he gets past the work he's was inherited to, like, and gets to just kind of like go on his own as far as like building and like doing things here, I think it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so I want to back up a little bit, Todd, because you spent some time at Terminus, like you said, and then you went down to Florida, presuming you were riding at OWC if you're at UCF. And then you went to Valdosta Wake Compound, which has a different material for a lot of their rails. So I want to know what drew you to VWC, and I also want to know what the fuck Lear Latham is.
Yeah, so before I even did work ride at VWC, I would drive up and day trip it to VWC from Orlando.
It's a long way.
From Atlanta.
Not at all.
No, I'd just leave. You got to leave early for like 5 a.m.
All right.
There's no traffic. I'd put my cruise control on like illegal speeds and just book it up I-75, turnpike to I-75, or I-75 straight down. It's like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Ride all day, drive home, or camp out for the weekend. But yeah, love the park. I mean, it just feels like something different. It looks like something different. It feels like a snow park. It feels like a skate park. A lot of the unit stuff, or any pre-made features, they're all white. It visually is not as appealing to me. A lot of the parks have the same setups. What drew me to VWC was just you can hit anything on that cable. I mean, metal rails, concrete. Like, I built a spring rail. Like, you can get creative, especially on that 2.0. I'm a big fan of the 2.0 riding. I think advanced 2.0s are amazing. And really, VWC was just that outlet to get super creative. And the sky's the limit. Like, you can do and create anything that's possible.
Yeah. Do we need more metal rails in wakeboarding?
I think so. I mean, you go to a snow park, every rail's made out of metal. You can't catch on them. You weld them, you grind them, they slide amazing. All you need is a welder, and you can buy some metal, go to the scrapyard, get a handrail. Yeah, I think we need more metal rails. And Liar Latham, to your original question, Liar Latham was me and Ralphie and LG were in the camper one night trying to come up with a crew name. And Quinn was on his kick at the time that we had the most metal rails out of any full size in the world on the full size.
Wow, what a feat, Quinn.
And we were spelling stuff. We were spelling stuff backwards and just landed on Liar Latham. Sounded kind of cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it. Always need a crew, and you got to have a good name for it. So more metal rails is what you guys would like to see, and I agree.
How isn't that a feat, though?
It's just there's not that many full sizes in the world of metal rails, so it's like, yeah, cool.
I think it's still true. At least in the
No,
US.
no, I'm sure. I think it is.
How many do we have?
I mean, I'd have to recount.
On the full size?
The full size?
I can count 3 for sure in my head right now. 4,
7.
7. That's really not that many. I thought it'd be more.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, so there's a lot of metal rails there, and there's a reason for why people like them. And so I guess your VWC background, you moved there, you love it, riding metal rails. Feels better, looks better. I know we got the Cable Mag, at this point probably a month ago or 2 months ago even, they posted a question, and I don't know what it was. It was would you like to see more metal rails in wakeboarding or something to that effect? A classic
I think
rage
there's a
bait question.
handrail. I think they use
Handrails?
the word metal handrail.
Metal handrails. Okay.
Yeah.
Classic rage bait question for the core community of wakeboarding, because who the fuck's going to say no to, maybe there will be two, like, really safety hardo people who, like, don't fully understand that will say no, but, like, we all want more metal rails. Like, it's pretty cut and dry, but there's no metal rails here, Todd, at KC Watersports. So is there plans to implement them, I guess, now that you're head honcho here?
Yeah. So there was going to be a metal rail for this contest. It wasn't long enough, and I didn't have enough metal to make it long enough. And the budget, frankly, was just not there to get it in the water. If I go scour some scrap yards and some Facebook Marketplace and we can make a metal rail work, we'll make it work. But, I mean, it's on the radar.
Todd has his welding certificate from the trade school in Valdosta because in his free time in Valdosta, he just decided to go to school and become a welder.
There you go. And you can plastic weld as well, correct?
Yep.
So you can weld everything. Love to see that. I guess diving back into this contest a little bit more, you guys plan on doing it again? Is this planning to be a yearly thing, or like what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. I think we had great turnout, great time, year one. More than I could have asked for. I mean, it's great, and I'd love to build this into something that is a yearly event that we get just build and build on the turnout. We took a lot of inspiration from RGR. I mean, I think it's just been a great just staple contest in the industry. We took the format, kind of ran with it, added kickers, and then just want to keep building and doing this event, try to get higher prize purses, find some more sponsors, and just keep going at it.
What did you learn, I guess? Obviously, it's still very fresh. It's Sunday night when we're recording this. But what have you learned? Because running an event, I mean, I've helped with RGR. Quinn, obviously, you've done a bunch. And now you've kind of, I'm sure you've helped with the yard sale and everything, but this was your kind of like endeavor here. What have you learned that maybe people who are attending events can keep in mind when they go to them?
I think that I learned, honestly, it went smoother than I could have asked for.
I thought it went amazing, yeah.
I thought it went great. Everything kind of went to plan. We didn't have to battle with weather. I learned that really, you don't have to go to these industry brands to get money. It's great if you can, but looking outside to kind of these companies that can use local companies or just companies that have nothing to do with the industry that think it's a really cool marketing tool that they can use to grow their business or say, hey, we sponsor this wakeboard contest and get press out of it. That's the way that you can really build your prize purse.
Yeah, 100%. And I think even like you're saying, the local brands, there was a lot of local brands out here. I don't know if you want to give them a shout out real quick, because obviously we're helping out here.
Yeah, so Straight Cut Construction, they had a tent out here. They were amazing. Ron and his two kids ride out here. They have memberships. They just fell in love with it at the end of last season. And he really stepped up. He's got a home building construction company, and he stepped up. We've got Tate from To All the Enemies. He had a vendor booth set up, and he is primarily snowboarding, didn't really know anything about the wakeboarding scene. We got him up on the 2.0 during the contest. He got up on a wakeboard for the first time.
Sick. Didn't know that.
Was doing back ones on the 2.0 during the contest, and said he's going to be back out here riding, and that was super sick. Ferguson Home, which is a industrial supply company, stepped up and sponsored. And then, the industry ones like One Wake, Liquid Force. I mean, the list goes on and on. We had so many sponsors involved with this thing that it was just really great. Blue Wave Technology Group as well. Big shout out to them. My dad works for him, so that was easier to get into. But I mean, still a great staple to the contest, and really, really made it a great time.
Yeah, and I think what I'm hearing right here are obviously non-industry brands, but if you think about it, there's a lot of value to a local brand, because ideally you're getting a lot of local people here who would potentially, get your service or product from that local brand. So the advertising kind of makes sense. And B, some of these local brands are sometimes pretty fucking big, and $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000 to them really is nothing. Whereas some of the wakeboard brands, I don't know the books of them, but sometimes it's pretty hard to go to a bunch of wakeboard brands for a new event and be like, hey, can you give us $1,000 or $2,000 for this or this, that, or the other? Or they're like, well, it's a lot smaller. The budget's a little bit tighter. So it's really smart, I think, to try and get your local community involved for more reasons than just the money. But for the money, it makes sense too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to network. Great ways to get into local businesses or local chambers of commerce. I go to chamber coffees all the time. Just try to network with local business owners. Get them to either do corporate events out here, see how we can help their business, see how they can help out ours. We had a chamber event out here a couple of weeks ago that we had all the local small town chambers. We had 200 people out here in the boathouse, all local business owners. And it's just really great to work from one small business to another small business and really be able to help each other and grow the local economy and grow wakeboarding. And it's just finding those synergies.
Synergies. Did you go to business school, Todd? That's
I
a big
did.
one. Yeah, there
I
we
did.
go. That's a big one right there. Circle the wagons on that one. So, all right, let's talk. Quinn, you were chief judge of this contest. It was you, along with Gavin Giglio and John Dreiling. So, run through kind of the nuts and bolts of how this contest played out.
It was pretty because it's head to head. It's a little bit easier to judge because you're like comparing one versus the other versus like a whole field where you really have to get into it on a like field of riders, like, or a heat of riders, that I've judged a lot of contests, and this made it like really fast. I mean, like, we were announcing the winner of the heat before they even got out of the water half the time. Todd's putting it on the bracket, and, it's basically live scoring, which is something that everybody always wants. But then by the end, like, the last, the head-to-head final with Gavin and Trent, that was really tough. They're just so comparable, like, trick-wise, perfection-wise. Like, we really had to find the flaws, so to speak, in one or both's riding. And at the end, I was pushing more for, like, Gavin. In the second heat of the final, I thought Gavin had it, and it's essentially at that point 2 versus 1, and I'm just like, it's really hard when you're judging to, like, really come to an agreement, and we were just back and forth for, I mean, you were
half an hour
at least,
I mean, filmed the runs, like, was watching them.
Yeah, replaying, pausing when they land on the rails, when they pop off the kickers, like, just to see any imperfection of either of their runs. And so, like, at the end, like, it could have gone either way. Like, I feel confident that no matter who won, obviously whoever doesn't win is going to be upset. But in my head, I really had it to where it was kind of Gavin winning. And then it wasn't until the point of the composition was brought up to where it kind of swayed me back towards Trent because, like, these guys basically, like, when you're in a rail contest and you're the top, like, you have to do something to set yourself apart. There's very hard technical tricks that every one of these riders can do and make look incredible. But you have to add in all this extra stuff all the time and to like differentiate yourself and to make it to where you're going to beat those other guys. And so they're doing so much of that, and the composition was that was the ultimate, like, tell of the winner. So basically came down to Trent's back roll onto the flat rail versus Gavin on the same feature, because we had it judged basically all the way to that feature and then the kickers. And I felt that Gavin's trick on that last feature was the winner. More technical, a little harder in my opinion. Both of them were extremely hard. And then the kicker tricks, it was a 10 versus a 3 to 5 or 5 to 3 that Trent did. But either way, lots of pullbacks and rewinds and that kind of thing in everybody's run. And so it kind of came down to, like, the composition of, like, another pullback, another, like land than pretzel versus something that was completely different, which Trent did, which was the back roll onto the flat rail. And so after looking at it from a composition standpoint, that was really the only thing that kind of stood out and separated the two, to where it was like every rail there was like a spin on, the rewind, a spin off, a rewind, like so many different like redirections and changes of rotation, to where it was like refreshing, you know, in the sense of composition, to see something that was just like a completely different hit than anybody had done. Nobody was doing that trick. Nobody was really doing either trick, but there was a lot more spin, stop, spin the other ways going along in both of their runs and throughout the whole day from, you know, all the riders. So essentially it went to Trent, and it still hurts because I really loved Gavin's run. Like, some of his hits were incredible. I love Trent's run as well. But, you know, when you're judging, you have to look at all these things. Like, you can't come to a group decision without a ultimate defining, like, divider of the two. So we were not getting there. And then as soon as the composition and that section got brought into mind, it was like the one thing that really made sense. Because I could, like I said, I could have argued either way that Trent could have won, Gavin could have won. And even today, like, I think if we would have said Gavin won, no one would have been upset about it. But like, as a judge truly judging these contests, you want to get it right, and you want to like really do what you tell them you're doing, you know, like we told them composition, all the things that happen in a riders meeting, you know, like all that, you really have to stand true to that. There's not like you can't say it and then just not follow through, because then, you know, Trent would be like, the reason I did that was because you said you wanted to see different stuff. You know, he may not say that, but like he could easily say that, and it's a valid point. So at the end, that was like what swayed me more towards that side, because it made a lot of sense. And I mean, they're both, it's crazy when they're both like equally as good as each other, and you know, one has to win, one has to lose. They already rode against each other, right? It was like literally they went, Trent barely edged out Gavin, and then Gavin cleaned up his run even more, and Trent, that was the only thing that really was a differentiator, was the composition. So yeah. It's really hard. It's really hard to judge, but like I'm definitely confident in like what we decided. Yeah. But like I said, it could go either way. Like at the end of the day, I would feel comfortable with either of them having won, but I feel better about the fact that we like really looked at it from every aspect, technicality, you know, spinning both ways, switch regular, composition, all that stuff is you have to really look at it from like every angle, especially when they're like lacing everything.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you know, riders, when you sign up for a contest, you are signing up to submit yourself to judgment from the judges, and you are signing up to live with that decision, because it's what you're signing up for. If you don't want to lose a contest, don't sign up for a contest, because it is what it is. And obviously there are mistakes that get made, all that stuff, but it's just interesting to hear from a judging perspective. Obviously you three, I was there for a little bit of it, you know, kind of watching you guys deliberate about it. It's interesting to watch the judging take place, because I think a lot of the riders, you know, in all of riding probably don't do a lot of judging. You know, some do, but I think the majority probably don't, or at least like a high level judging where you're really actually watching each hit and breaking it down. So it's interesting to see, you know, it's, you know, they're not, you guys care a lot and you want to get the decision right. So it's just interesting to watch. And obviously all the people who are following the cable world know Trent basically, you know, Trent does win everything. He wins it all. And this is another one where he won it all. And, you know, I don't have a strong opinion on it either way. It just is what it is. And you can't say he doesn't deserve to win it all, because he's absolutely fucking does, you know. Yeah. So it's not like anybody's questioning that there. But, yeah, I don't know, Todd, aside from the finals, you know, the finals here, if you're also quickly, if you're wondering why they rode twice against each other, this is a double elimination bracket style. I'm not going to bore you with the details of it. If you're really curious, Google double elimination bracket. But essentially, if you get beat in the top bracket, you fall down to a loser's bracket, and that loser's bracket works itself parallel to the winner's bracket, and then the people meet up again. And so that's why they had to ride twice against each other. Anyways, other than that, Todd, I mean, you had an AM bracket as well, and then we had a women's bracket and an open bracket. I mean, anything in that you saw that you liked, didn't like, anything like that from an event organizer's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, so we did beer pong rider draw, completely random. Bracket shook out the way it shook out. Some people thought they had easier bracket runs. Some people thought they had harder bracket runs. I mean, the reason Gavin and Trent had to go twice is because they got matched up pretty early. And Gavin edged out Trent earlier in the contest, and Trent fought back through the LCQ. But, yeah, I mean, I thought that bracket ran really smooth. I'd do a beer pong rider draw again. I'd do a random draw. I don't think there's really a way to seed these guys. I mean, we're not a governing body. I don't have their points chase or their contest records. They haven't. I mean, there's no way to seed them other than randomly, and I think we did well with that. Women's bracket I thought was great. We had two riders who this is really their first pro women's contest or open women's contest. Kennedy Powell and Layla, who just started riding this year, skateboarder. And then one of our locals, Jamie and Sophia, and I thought that was great. I'd love to see more women enter the bracket, but I mean it was great. Am went amazing. We had a bunch of locals, just throwing down all ages, all skill levels, just anybody who wants to get in on it, getting in on it. And I rode in the contest too. I loved it. It was super fun. Hunter and I faced each other.
We sure did.
But
How'd that go?
It went great.
Yeah.
It teed me up for a great run against Preston, which I think actually to bring up, I think, do you think if Gavin or Trent would have sped the cable up would have made your decision easier, on the finals there, if Gavin would have sped the cable up and gapped the relentless gap?
If he did, well, I mean, it's
probably
a different rail,
shit, right?
and I think that all of us had Gavin winning that section anyway.
Sure.
But the
could have helped the composition.
The gap between them, would have helped the composition, and the gap between them on that rail would have been, I think, farther. But that would have been a crazy move. I mean, Gavin went.
It's crazy move.
Gavin went first, though, right? Gavin went first in the final, I believe.
Yeah.
So he would have sped it up, and then Trent would have sped.
Who knows?
I think so.
I do want to bring up a point here, though, on the speed of the cable, because I think us three were talking about it, or maybe just me and you, Quinn. But I think it's something interesting that maybe hasn't been tapped into. I'm sure other people have thought about it. But I thought it would be interesting if riders could have a range of speed that they are allowed to ride the cable at for their run. Because on a full-size cable, you are the only one on the cable during a contest for the most part. Obviously, I think Langenfeld Open, the super final, you guys they're on two riders at a time, so it wouldn't work there. But most you're on it just by yourself. And obviously the 2.0 contests you do at yard sale, I think you can choose whatever speed you want for whatever rail you want. And I think that opens up a lot of interesting lines, especially at like what you had here with a rail you could possibly gap at a higher speed if you have the legs for it. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Like if you show up to a cable in the contest and you're like, hey, you get a range of 18 miles an hour to 24 miles an hour, and we can run it whatever you want for your run.
I'm into it. I mean, I'm super into it. Every other board sport, you can choose your speed. I mean, snowboarding, it's gravity-based, but people are speed checking or they're straight lining into big jumps.
Yeah.
Skateboarding, people are pumping through and gapping, or they're going slower and hitting rails. Like, I'd be super into it. Just bringing some more creativity into what's possible on the cable.
Bring little options into it. And I think maybe you don't want to get carried away where it's like, well, I want to go this speed for this rail or this for that rail. It's like, all right, you got two stretches and the kickers, you get to pick one for part of it and then you slow it down or whatever. Your thoughts, Quinn? You kind of echo what Todd's saying?
I mean, pretty much as long as everybody has the opportunity to do it as well, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, speed is speed. Like, some people like to just go slower in general. Some people like to go faster in general. We want the best out of everybody, so we want them to be comfortable. I mean, and even like you're saying, like, obviously, like, not rail to rail on a full cable, but on a 2.0 contest, like if you have a really good driver, I mean, like obviously at yard sale we have Andy Oak, probably the best 2.0 driver on the planet, and you know, you can tell him, hey man, go to line 1 on the first gap, and then for the rest of the line I want to go to line 2 or something like that, and he's going to get it right.
Yeah.
But there is a risk there that I don't think should fall back on the driver for 2.0 contests, where it's like that's a lot to ask.
Yeah.
If the driver is like accepting of it, like if I was driving, I feel like I would be comfortable doing it as well, as long as they remind me, you know, before their run. That's no problem. But like some people or some in cases that might just be a lot to ask, but I think it's perfectly fair as long as everyone has the opportunity to do it. Then I don't see any problem with it, because like he said, I mean, snowboarding, skateboarding, you can choose how fast or slow you do anything, and there's no reason why. You know, some people might just want to go a little slower so they can like sit down on their press a little more and have a little longer bit of rail to hit. So I think it's, and you were the only one to do it, which was
well, you know,
kind of
sometimes you got to throw a Hail Mary, and that's kind of where I'm at. Or especially in a head-to-head bracket, you're matched up against someone that is 10 times your skill level, and you just got to say, fuck it, dude. I just got to try something to go and see what we can do. I think it's time we dive into the LF'n Hot Seat presented by Liquid Force. So we're going to put Todd and Quinn, especially Todd, on the LF'n Hot Seat, and this one is brought to us by Mike Olson.
What's up, Todd? What's up, Hunter? Here from the beautiful Midwest, and I've been asked to ask some questions of Todd, some hot seat LF'n Hot questions. So here we go. You know, it's funny, over the last 6 months or so, I really picked up on a tremendous vibe with the cable industry. Between some of the new exciting parks we got going in Minnesota and in Boise, Idaho, along with just visiting a few parks, like particularly last fall being at Ravens Cove and seeing some of the great energy they had there on a Sunday afternoon, hopping into the Stoke Factory at TSR on a Saturday in the spring and seeing a great deal there, and most of all, the other night, Friday night, being at my former park, KC Watersports, and seeing the unbelievable event that you guys put on between Sean, Todd, Hunter, all you guys. What an amazing deal. So my hot seat question to you is, Todd, how are we going to make wakeboarding great again, huh? What's it going to be? I think maybe the way to go with this new energy we're feeling, maybe we look at going back to what Blake Hess brought us years ago, the points chase, bringing all the parks together, doing a common competition where it's some fun, it's some competition, it's everybody working together. Todd, how are we going to make that happen? Are you up for a national, amateur, and pro series that we all pull together on? Answer that in the hot seat. Thanks.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting one. I mean, Hunter and I talked about this a little bit off air. I think that we could bring all these I love the grassroots competitions. Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier. The creativity behind them, all that stuff. I think we could find a way to rank some of these competitions and turn that into a series. I think that you need your local contests. We're doing a ton of local contests. We did one in April. We just did this one. We're doing one in July. We're doing another one in September. So it's a great way to bring the community together, do the AM contest, do the pro contest. As far as the national league, I'd love to put it together with some people, but I think we use our existing events. I don't think it needs to be a points chase. I don't think there needs to be a governing body behind it. I think that we can use some of these events like Field Party and RGR and Yard Sale and Dan's Feature Farm and some of these contests and have some other parks step up and throw contests that we can build the community with and do overall standings between those contests. And it just really takes the cable owners and the event organizers to get together and figure out that format. But yeah, as far as bringing a points chase back or something like that, points chase is super fun. But it's really on, I think, the local cables to step up and make their own contests.
Yeah, definitely. Quinn, any thoughts on points chase or anything? I was never a big fan of points chase, but I don't know your guys' thoughts.
I mean, I agree 100% with what Todd's saying. Like, I think the series, like a series with, you know, all the contests that we've all established, and, you know, that they have set a standard that I think is its own thing, but like collaboratively, I think they could do something huge, you know, even to incorporate all our contests with a couple from Europe, you know, like make it an international tour, so to speak. But it's not like stop one, stop two. Like, obviously there's an order to things, but like they're still marketed in the way, because I think there's something special about, you know, the field party and like the theme and yard sale and RGR. Like, all these contests have like a theme that makes them so special individually, but I think together we're all doing essentially the same thing with what we have. I like the points chase thing. I think there is something there, and I think we can all get there. But I think these establishing contests build this interest that the other people, like the Groms and the people who are not quite there yet for like riding in some of them, you know, like there's amateur and there's pro and women. And then, you know, yard sale, we have a qualifier anyone can enter, and it's, you know, pro. But then there's like there's an interest there to where people who aren't quite there yet are like, man, I wish there was something like that we could do to build up to that. And there's something else there where it's like we do a version of that. Like, we've been doing Splish Splash we just did our third year. And our crew was kind of the masterminds behind the idea, and it's just basically a yard sale for Groms and amateurs and people who aren't, you know, like the setup's intimidating, but like it's more intimidating when you're riding against a Trent or a Gavin and, you know, a Derry and, you know, the top riders in the world. So that's where, you know, yard sale, like obviously people aren't going to just sign up to qualify who know they're probably not going to qualify, but there is people who want the experience, so they do. But then doing things like Splish Splash and establishing like a subliminary contest that's kind of like it's like an entry level version of what we're already doing. And if we could do a series, that'd be awesome. But like it's hard to with the way these kids follow the wakeboard contests and stuff like that. It's hard to expect the parents from around the U.S. to travel and do multiple stops. But if we have like a one-off every year, Splish Splash or Todd does something just like this, but only for amateurs and Groms, it's just going to build those events. And it's like maybe there's an AM series and a pro series. And then the pro series doesn't just have to be pro, but like it's focused on the higher end, you know, more gnarly stuff, to where we kind of establish what we have done along with RGR and every other contest that's, you know, independently run, to where there's like the level 1 and level 2, you know. So we have level 1. For us, it's like level 1's at the beginning of the year, level 2's at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And we just every year it's like we do the new setup for yard sale every year. And then the next spring or beginning of summer, we do the AM contest, which is on a lot of the same stuff from yard sale. So it's basically just an AM yard sale. Like, it's all on the 2.0 for us. And it's all on the 2.0. And then it also shows these kids, like, and, you know, not just kids, but the goal is to get the kids super stoked because they're the next wave, and shows them, like, some of the stuff that I've been looking at, like, I would die, you know, how many times you hear that at a cable park? I would die if I hit that. And then we got kids hitting the chain rail doing, like, tricks that people were doing in yard sale, and they're, like, 13 years old, you know?
Yep. It looks like a huge confidence builder for sure.
Yeah.
Getting those kids on that setup. And then, I mean, I think there's a huge opportunity for regional contests as well, where, like, Broken Record Tour did a great job. They're still doing a great job. I mean, they lost Terminus as a stop, but just regional contests like that, like if we can get something going in the Midwest or in Texas or Wake Island and Velocity, and just getting, like, the parks that are within 8 hours of each other to do maybe 3 contests and then a regional. I mean, I think that's a great way to do smaller AM series as well and get people riding other parks, sharing the stoke and building each other up.
Yeah. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of like the level 1, level 2, Quinn, I think it's really interesting because I think the kids that are in Splish Splash Bash right now, I would assume they're looking up to yard sales. Like, okay, I'm doing the Splish Splash Bash now, but maybe one day I'll be able to do the yard sale and I'll be in it just like, shoulder to shoulder with all the other people. And I think that's really important. I know like the Bricks started a new thing this year. I think it was called the Bricks Riot.
Yep.
And they like went all out to make their groms feel sick. Like,
Yeah.
it was amazing. Like, I wasn't there, but it looked really amazing from just like an outsider's perspective looking in. And I think that stuff's really important. And I know I always heard the term grassroots kind of when I was, getting into it and watching it all. And I always thought that term was like, just meant shitty contest. That wasn't that cool. Yeah. And like, that is an important distinction because I always thought, Mike Olson, to your point, I thought points chase was pretty stupid. I thought it looked whack. I thought people took it really seriously, and it took all the fun out of wakeboarding from what I saw. Yeah. Our park action would go down to OWC or wherever they held it. They would get no laps. Everybody was wearing bibs. It was a super hardo environment, and I was like, this is the opposite of what I personally view wakeboarding as, and I don't think it's like a sustainable way to get people into it and keep them into it because you're immediately butting heads with everybody. There's a winner, there's a loser. Like I don't know. It just didn't seem like a great fit for me. So I think maybe removing that thing where it's like all these things have to be the exact same throughout the country. It's like, no, let's just see what they do throughout the country and then somehow figure out a way to connect them is probably the best path forward. I don't know how or when we get there, if that's even a thing we do soon, or is it later after, more field parties and more splish splashes and more RGRs and more contests from these other parks kind of pop up and establish themselves, and then later we connect them? I don't know. That remains to be seen. I think it's an interesting thing to think about, though, for sure. So that was a good question, Mike. Thank you for that. Any other thoughts on that? Or
I think connecting the big ones is probably the level 2s is probably the first step. And then continuing to build off of that, because I like shout out to our crew for Splish Splash. Like, I can't really take credit for it. It was all, Titty Boy, Alex, Trey Sirianni, Alex Bozer. They were like the brains and the ones who like really made that start, and it's grown into something really special. But to look at that, it's like the first year we had a Grom, and then, all the divisions. And then the second year we had to add a Super Grom because all the Groms, they're hitting like the Groms and the amateur women division are hitting just the middle gap, which is very manageable on the 2.0, but still very scary for a kid and somebody who's not super confident. Then by year 2, we had the Grom division, but we had to add the Super Grom division with kids who are hitting the whole course. And most of the kids in Super Grom started in that Grom division, and they outgrew it instantly in 1 year. And then by this year, we threw the whole Super Grom division out because all those kids were ready to ride in like the advanced division, which is like the top division.
So you're just watching it build.
Yeah.
Basically.
So it's like we had Grom, we had like all the other divisions, but then we just threw out Super Grom. So like the progression is incredible to see. And then, as you're going, you have to be able to evolve. So like you, to your point about points chase, it's having it so like bam, bam, bam. You have to have like the ability to like manipulate the contest on the fly.
Yeah.
Like you set out all the divisions and this and that. Like we even had to I separated part of one division and made 2 divisions out of it based off of like the riders that I knew were signed up, because I was like, they all could ride together, but like these guys were like ready to do like gnarly tricks, and these guys were like ready to hit the setup, and they weren't maybe quite ready for like competing with these guys. But essentially they could have, but it's like you have to be able to be flexible.
You kind of had to play God to make it the best contest rather than.
And no one was upset about it either.
Yeah.
To that point, because how wakeboard contests are. Like parents are like, wait, you changed the divisions and this and that, and like that's where I think the drawback with points chase is everything's so rigid, and then all of a sudden you have like one kid riding in intermediate boys,
13 to 15 born on,
and then it's like,
15,
oh, I got a gold medal for riding against myself, and it's like, you don't even have to ride. I'll give you the medal.
Yeah, let's not waste the time.
Let's just like jump you up to the next one. And when you're riding against better people, you're going to feel better about yourself for doing that. But if you didn't get the gold medal, are you going to be upset that you didn't get a medal? But you rode better because you had to.
Well, yeah, and if you're a parent raising your kids, do you really want to like just teach them that like the better path is to just not have anybody against you and just collect the medal rather than like actually have to do something for it? Like,
Yeah.
I don't
So
know. That's interesting.
That's just where I think like being able to build off of that stuff goes is flexibility. And, when you do your own event, you can do it, and you kind of know the people signing up a little bit too. And then I think the next step is definitely like get, an amateur version of Field Party that's focused only on those people. Like for Splish Splash, like if you've qualified for yard sale, you are not allowed to sign up for Splish Splash. That's a pretty good rule,
Yeah.
It keeps, there can be really good riders who want to qualify for yard sale and try to qualify and maybe will that same year. But like, if you've already done it, you can't ride in it.
Yeah, 100%. That makes sense. I think before we get any later in this podcast, Todd, I have a gift for you. All guests who come on the podcast get a goodie bag, if you will, with gifts. I want you to open it right now, actually. So it comes in the custom Grab Matters bag for this.
If there's a Smirnoff Ice in here, Hunter.
I don't know why Todd would say that, but it comes with a shirt, a hat, maybe reach all the way in the bottom.
Yeah,
I told you he's a
on
pretty
there.
smart guy.
Yeah.
Todd is a smart guy who went to college. We're talking synergies right now. And Todd's going to get very synergetic with this mimosa flavored Smirnoff Ice, I think. And this is, I'm not a guy to hold grudges.
This is huge.
Quinn, that's a big one. It's a tall boy. It's all they had, according to Hayden. Shout out Hayden. Thanks for picking that up.
What did Wes ice you with?
You iced me 2 years ago on
I know.
the episode with Wesley Mark Jacobson.
that.
And you iced me.
Yeah.
And so I am now finally getting my payback.
You're not a guy who holds grudges.
No, I'm not a guy who holds grudges. I just remember.
2 days ago, July 22nd,
I didn't know that. So we'll watch you drink this.
Yep.
You are supposed to chug it on one knee.
Yeah,
But
I'll get on a knee.
Fair
You can do it.
as it goes. I think while he's chugging this, I'll read a Patreon question that we got. And this one's from Rich Wheeler. And he's wondering, what are 4 features every cable park should have? If kickers, which sizes and shapes, normal versus wave, all that kind of stuff. So if 4 features at a cable park, if you're that's a good one.
That was nice.
Yeah, at least it's not
And
coming
you
back up.
crushed that so far, dude.
I like it through so far because it could just come right back up right there. That'd be a nice orange reversal of fortune there. But 4 features. If you're designing a cable park and they're like, you can only have 4 features in it, this is what it's got to look like. What are you guys picking? What are you guys putting in there? Essentials.
Essentials. Some form of a box. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly a traditional box, but some form of just a easy box for the beginners and for learning stuff, because they're good for everybody, and I always have fun hitting easy stuff too. Definitely a metal handrail of any kind, preferably a skinny, flat, about 40-foot long handrail. A kicker of a good kicker. It doesn't have to be the biggest, doesn't have to be small. We have some small to medium kickers that you can do tens on if you push into them. So doesn't have to be crazy. And a built-in the land pool gap with whatever you want on it.
I don't know if that one. We'll let it slide for now, Todd.
Yeah. I'd say kickers. Definitely placement off the dock is preferable.
Mm-hmm.
I'll echo the box. I think some sort of pipe, which most parks have, either a unit pipe or like a floating corrugated pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And then something really long. I want to see some 100-footers out there.
You're preaching the choir on this one. I love that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what you guys.
Yeah, those are my 4.
Okay. I love to hear it. I would do 4 Grab Matters unit rails so I can take my $8,000 in royalties and do a proper Best Grab World tour with proper purses.
Also, anybody who wants to sponsor the Grab Matters unit rail for this park, I'll put it in the water. So if you give me the
Sick.
cash, we'll buy it, put it in the water.
Sick idea.
Yeah. So hit me up, Todd at KCWatersports.com. If you want to sponsor the rail, I'll throw your logos all over it.
I love it.
If you want to do 2, we'll take one in Valdosta too.
There we go. Love to see that. All right, let's move into Slings Hot Takes, presented by Slingshot. So first one, favorite wake part. We'll start with Todd and then go to Quinn and then
Part in a movie?
Yeah.
Or
Or I guess it could be individual part. Doesn't have to be.
no, favorite wake part. I'm not saying it because he's next to me. Quinn Silvernale in the Coalition, the movie, the sequel.
Dang. Thanks, Todd. Oh man. I think FOMA too. Does that count, or does it have to be a person?
That's like yeah. I mean,
Or FOMA 1. Both of those are like
Both mashups.
they're
if I
both
was gonna-
montages,
yeah.
so it's kind
If I was gonna show anybody like
of
wakeboarding, I think that would be it. But okay, so like a personal part.
Yeah, yeah.
This is hard. It also depends on like the day, so
That's fine. What about today? What are we feeling?
keep that in mind. It's so hard. This was a tough question. Who wrote this? Do you know, or did you make it?
It did. Nobody told me who wrote these. For the listeners, they came from the Slingshot team.
Okay,
I think you guys had a meeting. Apparently, you don't remember it.
I wasn't in that meeting.
You weren't invited to that one.
Yeah. Favorite wake.
Why does it matter who asked that one?
I don't know.
It's a very basic standard question.
I just knew it came from
That's a
Slingshot.
standard issue GI Joe.
I just knew it came from Slingshot.
You asked that one a lot.
That's yeah.
Every
It's the
sling
first
hot,
one every
sling
time.
hot take.
I probably answered it on the last time I was
You
on
weren't
here.
on it when we did Slings Hot Takes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
this is-
okay.
Sling
yeah.
hot takes is new.
Okay,
Yeah, this
okay.
is Sling Slow Takes with Quinn Silvernale.
You
Yeah.
sure?
It's
Nitro-
hard.
Nitro turbo takes.
Yeah, this is
It's hard, dude. I got like a
Slingshot slow
billion
takes.
things. All right. I mean, Dairy. I'll just say Dairy in the last movie. Dairy
The Coalition
Coalition,
movie
the
third?
movie, the trilogy.
Okay.
Dairy's Nebel. I mean, it's easy.
Okay.
I was trying to go outside of my box.
Yeah, you're not biased at all. It's okay. All right. If there was
Dairy's the
one
best wakeboarder in the planet, dude. Besides, park rippers, but winching, Dairy is unbelievable.
if there was one rider you could bring back in the game, who would it be and why?
Rafter him.
Gibby Corcoran.
He's kind of back, low key. He
Fuck,
said he wants to
film it.
film a full
Film
winch
it.
part and just drop it on Instagram.
Film it.
That's what I think.
Do
he
it,
did.
dude.
Yeah,
And don't tell us
Oh.
what you want to do. Just do it, dude.
yeah, yeah. Don't talk about it. Be about it. All right. Most underrated wakeboarder.
Most underrated. I'm going to go with what I'm feeling in my heart today, and that's Brett Powell on cable.
That's a good take right there. I could go easy and say Dairy, but I think I already said that. I definitely think I had this question last time. But underrated is, I think, Dom Hernler. I know he's like highly rated, but I just think he is so like in the shadows so often that people forget, and then he comes out and does something that's just like unbelievable. But like I think because he's not just always like on the gram and doing
He's
all
pretty
the,
reclusive.
he's pretty reclusive.
He's as close to Raft Aroma as you could get in this day and age.
Yeah.
In terms of the approach to the sport.
And just like it honestly just seems like he puts his boots on and then just like goes and does the most gnarly thing in like probably 3 tries max.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just like the type of guy where if it's not working out, he's not doing it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good one. Is a video part from a wake park considered a full part?
Depends on the part.
I think it depends on if it's a park edit or not.
I mean, it's from
from a park.
From a cable.
If you're
from a
calling
cable
it, if
park.
you're calling it a park edit or not, it's a full park edit, yeah.
But it's not a full part.
I wouldn't agree.
You can just say yes or no. You don't got to judge me. And
I think if you get creative with it, for sure. Like if you're building your setups, building unique rails, hacking the park up, doing something crazy, there can be a park full part. If you're just riding the setup and it's staying the same and it's all the same stuff and we've seen people hit the same features, then maybe not. Get creative with it.
All right.
I like his take. I'll go.
It's a
with
little,
that.
it's a little more political. Oh, okay. You're gonna.
No, it's
jump on
not
board.
not just political. I just like when I'm thinking what you're saying. I'm just thinking of a park that you just pulled up to and are filming.
Public hours. You film.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with filming at a
That's a
park.
great park edits.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
I think when I ask this question, people are like,
Edit
it's,
versus full part.
yeah. When people are like, oh, that's like park edits, like whack. No, we need more park edits.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about a certain wakeboarder who might start wakeboarding again, and it would be great to see some of these people do front boards back. Like, I just want to see you ride your wakeboard again in a park edit with a good song and good filming. Like, we definitely need some stuff like that. So, can a butt checked trick be an NBD?
No.
Easy enough.
Almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's a 0.
It's a 0. Best female rider, Steez.
Best female rider, Steez.
Yeah.
Anna Nickstad.
Do you have a current one? No, there's nothing wrong with that answer. I'm just.
No.
I still have to think, but
I'm thinking of one right now, actually, that I just thought of. I'm going to be a little disappointed if you don't think of this one, Quinn.
If I don't think of it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have
Oh,
to.
Anna Bearden.
Yes.
yeah, that's
I mean, for park riding, she dominates. She's so much better than almost everybody at our park.
Yeah, it's insane. Todd, are you echoing that, or you got a different name?
I'll go Katinka.
Very solid.
Anne Fryer, also honorable mention. She's
Yeah.
True.
insane. dude.
True. Contest or video parts?
Like-
Both.
Not an acceptable answer.
Like, oh, okay, like not a contest video, like contests in general.
Contest
versus
or
video.
video parts, yeah.
I mean, for me, video parts, because
Say it.
do you think I would be able to beat Trent and Gavin in a contest, or
As far as a rider, I think video parts. Or I don't know. I like watching video parts. I like going to contests. I prefer riding and filming than riding in a contest. I prefer being at the experience of a contest versus like watching a premiere.
Yeah.
It's like it's such a toss up. I love both of them so much, but yeah, I'll go. We need more events. I mean, I don't think we should call them contests. They are contests at the end of the day.
Well, they don't have to be.
But I think
Yeah.
every contest needs to be more than a contest. It needs to be an event. I don't think contests are about what happens on the water. It's bringing everybody together and making an experience.
Every contest should be an event. Not every event needs to be a contest.
Yep.
I like that. Best style.
Sammy Codner. Hands
Swag.
down, Sammy Codner.
Hands down.
Ollie Brumland?
That's a good one too.
Okay, you're pulling some names out. I like it. I like it. Are blunts real?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what else are you gonna call them?
Board slide. On the cable. Do you wax your board? Yes or no?
Depends on the park.
Same.
If they got a bunch of unit in there, I'm throwing wax on my board.
Same.
Same
I mean, I never have to wax my board at Valdosta unless we like do something I'm unsure about on the 2.0. But I've never had to wax my board at Valdosta. I didn't wax.
Shout
my
out
board
to the
here.
wax house though. Best wax in the game. Graphite based. Doesn't stick to the rails, so the managers at unit parks can't complain about it. Makes the rails slipperier. The dirt doesn't stick to it. Doesn't melt. High melting temperature.
How does the dirt get there through the water?
That's what never fucking made sense.
So
to me, dude. The board hits the water.
There's silt and dirt in the water. You spray the features. The water evaporates. Dirt sticks to the wax.
That makes sense.
That's
But
why.
the-
That's
but
why
if the-
Westrock's features are stickier, is because their water has more silt in it.
I thought it was like a sulfur thing or something.
I mean, sulfur is also a particle in the water
Mm.
that, when the water evaporates, that is stuck to the rail.
We're stepping into the dojo with Todd right now. on
That's my. That's my.
I told
shit.
you he's
I mean,
smart.
Yeah.
that's my theory.
My kid's wicked
Yeah.
smart.
That's my
But I
theory.
feel like-
if
What's
you
wicked
boil a bunch ocean water. There's salt left in a bowl. If you boil a bunch of lake water,
But I
there's
feel
going to
like
be dirt on the rail.
if you spray the rail and the water is on the rail and the water evaporates off the rail, the dirt's still there. It just doesn't stick to the rail.
The argument is that the wax that is low melting temp makes the dirt stick. So then everybody has to wax.
I don't know. To me, that sounds like a pretty valid argument.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The wax house wax, though, is graphite-based. So it doesn't melt. You can leave it in your car. It doesn't melt. And then it actually makes the rails more slippery for other riders, too, not just you. So then they might complain that the rails are too slippery. I don't know.
Interesting. I always thought the wax thing is an unenforceable, thing. I don't wax my board because I don't really care. I've never really had any problems, but it's an unenforceable thing. So it's not even worth thinking about, really, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, if you tell me I can't wax at your cable park, I'm going to wax my board in my car and walk in with it.
Yeah, and it's like, are you really going to check every single person's board for eternity? Unrealistic.
You're
Gonna
not.
happen. You're not going to do it. So it's, but I guess if you go to a park, they own it. They have rules. All right, most illegal trick.
Board slide back 450.
Okay.
Board slide back. Most illegal trick. I feel like we talked about this the other day. I'm drawing a blank. Most illegal trick.
Or front two prets, too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah.
Board slide back 450 is just so ugly to me, though.
a lot of people have said that, and now it's like a mission to how can I make this cool?
It's
You
like
got to
it's like a toe 5. It's the same thing.
Like, how do you make
well,
it
you got to
cool?
spin it like front board same way, but it's not, you can't really do that.
I have some ideas.
I feel like if you pull the back foot up enough, you can make it look
Let's
close.
try. Let's start trying. Maybe we'll do a board slide 450
contest.
yeah. Like an online contest. Who has the best board slide 450 same way for
Fashion air. I hate fashion airs. That's my
Do you think it's ever done in a serious or do you hate it in any aspect?
I just don't. It's just dumb. Well, the fact that that it even existed from the beginning is dumb.
I love the
do a method if you're gonna do it. Do a method.
Yeah,
you can do it, but the fact that it has a name and someone decided back in '95 or whenever that it was like, this is a trick I just invented. That's what makes it dumb.
That's
I like Gavin Salmon Rayleigh.
Yeah, the Rayleigh floppy fish.
Rayleigh
That's what I was
fish.
about to say.
Yeah, it's like, it's funny that he did it, but it's not like Gavin's like, I invented a new trick today.
And it's when you're sitting on the shore and somebody's like, oh, what's that called? You don't want to look over and be like, well, that's the blah, blah, blah. It's like, he just was fucking around.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't like it. It's not like if you enjoy doing it or whatever, like that's fine. I'm not gonna like hate you for it.
Yeah.
But like I just hate that it got a name. It's got its own name, and like somebody back in the day was like, I invented a new trick, and it's like, well, the guy who did the method probably before you did that, he did a trick that already existed in several other sports, and he named it the same name, which is very admirable.
Yeah.
Can we go pee? Smirnoff Ice got me.
Absolutely. All right, so we got another Patreon question here from Dean at Dup Wakeboards, and he's going, ask Todd, local events are often what keep a scene alive. What role do you think the pro riders play in supporting those events, whether that's riding, judging, coaching, or simply showing up and connecting with people?
That's a good question. I think we touched on this a little bit at the beginning. I think that the pro riders, I'd love for them to do as much as they can, and some of those guys do. Some of them show up and ride, and that's all that they're asked to do. When we throw a contest, they're not required to do anything other than show up and ride. But the guys that put in the effort, they connect with the amateurs, they coach them through their runs, they stick around and ride before and after the contest and really connect with the people at this scene, signing autographs on boards. It really, I mean, KC, we haven't had pros here in a while. I mean, it's sick to see our local guys really be able to meet the names that are on the boards that they ride. And a lot of people were so stoked with that, getting autographs, being able to connect with these people. And that's what the event's all about. The event's all about just building the community and keeping this community alive and bringing more people into the sport. From a business standpoint, a lot of the pro riders as well, it's to bring entertainment. I mean, we have a full-service bar on property. We bring a food truck in. And getting the spectators here, I mean, that makes us bar revenue. And the best pro riders are going to bring people here. But the guys who stick around, the guys who really put in the work, and people are helping me before the event with rails. We put a rail in on Friday, or basically Thursday night, right before the contest. I mean, I love all the guys that go above and beyond and really, really help the contest go.
Yeah, so it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure situation, it sounds like, yeah.
See how much work you want to put in. I mean, I'm happy with everybody that comes out. I mean, all I can ask you to do is come out and support our event. The guys that go above and beyond, my heart goes out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Quinn, your thoughts on the pros and their, I mean, you guys, you yard sale and everything else. So,
I mean, I think Todd hit it spot on. Like, it's super important to connect with the community at every park. And, like, I know as a pro rider, you don't always have a need to do that because you're maybe not from that area or whatever, but like I think a huge thing is like understanding how much it matters to these people who are there, like spectators, parents, the kids looking up to you, even kids or even people your own age, like I think the biggest thing that the pro riders should take as a responsibility, and they don't have to, like you said, they only responsibility is come and do a great job and ride. Like, that's it. But to market yourself as a pro, I think the biggest thing that you can do is kind of make yourself approachable and let people come and talk to you, because people want to talk to you. Like, they want to ask you about things that maybe you don't even care to spend more than 2 minutes talking about, but like give them that time and like make them feel appreciated right back, because without people getting into this and like looking up to you, it's all done. Like wakeboarding, any board sport, it's like that's the thing that fuels it, like the pro riders you could be really good at like pogo sticking and nobody really cares, like I don't know if there's a pogo stick nationals or whatever, but like there's not pogo stick park that like people are all congregating to. So for us to have a place where everyone congregates to do these contests and to watch these contests, that's like a pretty special thing for just the world in general, because not every hobby has that. And so a lot of these people are doing it as a hobby, but then they still look up to you. So I feel like being approachable to where like you give them some time and you talk to these people and you just act like a person, like you're not better than anybody because you're good at riding a wakeboard. And like these people they still respect you enough to like hold you in a higher regard than like most people. And like, I feel like that's like a really special thing that you shouldn't take advantage of. So not that is super common, because I think most wakeboarders and board sports, it's come around to where it's not just like the core lords who are like too good for everybody. But I think that's just important to like remember when you're at these events, and like you're so focused on yourself and your riding and this and that, and that is important. But being able to like interact with the people who like really care, like you could meet a kid and talk to him for 10 minutes and he's going to remember that for the rest of his life. And like I was that kid too. So like, Scott Byerly sold me and my parents, my little sister's first wakeboard. She wasn't even there. It was like we were looking for a board for her, and Scott Byerly happened to be in the shop that day in South Carolina for no reason that I could ever imagine. I'm like, oh my God, that's Scott Byerly. And I'll never forget that. Yeah. And then later on, me and Scott Byerly became friends, and he lived at my wakeboard park for a little bit and like had a camper there and like stayed there on weekends. So it's just, that stuff matters so much. You don't know like how far down the line it could like reverberate back. But like, I just think like being a normal person and treating everybody like you're just a normal person too. 'Cause like all we're doing is the thing that we love, and those people probably do the thing that they love. It just might not be like a board sport, and they're doing that for fun, but their job might be something that they love. Maybe they just love building stuff and they build stuff.
Yeah, and it's like these kids, or the operators or people at the park, like they scroll Instagram and they see, all these pro riders all the time. So they feel like they know you to a certain extent, and then you do show up and it's like, oh, this person's larger than life. And I don't know, when I was a kid, I probably would have never approached a pro wakeboarder. Like if I was a big fan of wakeboarding, like I would have been too nervous and too afraid of like, am I going to seem uncool for like trying to talk to you or just ask you a question? So it's like, probably important as well to just kind of keep an eye out for people that are like, and I know this probably sounds dumb if you're like a rider that people think is, high level of like, I don't want to go to a wake park and like have to work. Like all these people are trying to look at me and I want to talk to them or whatever. But like, you're a big deal to all these people, like more or less it's a big deal for them. Like when you show up here, like you said, you haven't had pros here in a while. That's kind of a big deal to all the operators, to the locals. Like they're all looking at you when they show up. It's like, oh my God, is that so-and-so? And it's like, yeah, that is. Like it's
And everybody was so stoked out. I think the event went great. One last thing I just want to touch on as far as this goes too is like a lot of these contests to me feel like a family reunion, and wakeboarding's such a tight-knit thing. And maybe I'm in a unique position where I know everybody, and it feels like we're always coming back together. But I'd love it to get to the point where I don't know everybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's where we can just try to keep growing this thing and get to the point where I show up to an event and you're meeting more people, or maybe there's too many people to even meet. Like, that would be insane for the sport if we can just keep building and building and building on this to the point where we can support more pros. But that starts from the beginners on the dock. That starts from amateur contests. That starts just all the way from the bottom.
100%. Todd, I want to know your hottest wakeboard take.
Well, if you put me on the spot, then hottest wakeboard take.
He'll talk himself into it. Just give him a second here.
Okay, yeah.
If you put me on the spot, I believe in you, Todd.
I mean, I feel like people might agree with this. I think that, and I've written business plans. 2 of these almost came to fruition. I think that the sport and the growth of the sport in the United States can start with 2.0s, and that the full size is such an investment and in land costs or leasing, and it takes so much land to get it close to a metro that I think the growth of 2.0s could grow our sport insane. And people have said it before, and I don't know who could step up or step into that role, but I still think that looking at it from an outside point, the most viable business plan with a low investment overhead would be a 2.0 that's a food and beverage play, where you're a restaurant overlooking a lake and aqua park and 2 2.0s. And I think it could work if you get close enough to a metro. And I think we can grow our sport with lower overhead costs by opening more 2.0s.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
that's an operational hot take,
He's
but
a smart guy. Business
yeah.
Synergies.
I don't know if that's the hot take you were looking for, but
you did preface it with the makings of not a hot take, which is, I think a lot of people might agree with this. Mm-hmm. You got anything else? Any other riding hot takes, maybe?
Oh yeah, I hate rewinds.
Here we go. This is where we wanted to go.
So the 5 to 3 is insane, or 3 to 5. It's 3 to 5. It's insane. It reminds me though, and Trent, this is no stab. I love you. But the rewinds at Langenfeld, the rewinds that we keep doing, I don't think they look as good as
this is a hot take.
As something that's grabbed for a long time or spun. And the rewinds, they're unique to wakeboarding, but it feels like when everybody used to do an indie grab 3 to 1 as their kicker hit, and now we're just 3 to 1 maxing and trying to do as many rewinds as we can. And I just don't think it's the best looking trick.
That certainly is a hot take. Mm-hmm. I like that one, Todd. I actually love that one.
I do too.
Thoughts on it, Quinn?
I think it's, yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, I don't, like, not respect it. I know it's harder. I know it's technically harder, but I think the biggest problem is, like, just when the trends of all wakeboarding, board sports, how it works when it's, like, a new thing comes along, everybody overdoes it. It's like the double half cab roll. Everybody was eaching it off the top. We already talked about this at the last one or the one before, but everyone was eaching it off the top, and then you just huck the double half cab roll. I know that's way easier than a 3-to-1, 5-to-1, whatever rewind. But it just is when everybody is doing a version of it, it's just like takes away the like awe factor, and it's just so much like pop, 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 pop. Like, I don't know. It's impressive and it's cool, but like I agree, it doesn't look the best. But it is very like it catches you off guard if you don't know it's coming, you know. But like from our perspective as like people who eat, like consume the sport, you know, all of us, we see so many of them. But you know, to somebody who's sitting on the shore here at field party, it's mind-blowing because it is mind-blowing. But
Change
like,
direction in the air.
we're desensitized. But I think I'm going to throw a quick hot take because you didn't necessarily ask for mine, but I think on rails, frontside spins are way weaker than backside spins and look way worse. Like winding up, and it's a little bit of the rewind thing, a spin in, and then a frontside pull for a 360 out is way less cool to me than a same way. Like a pretzel frontside.
Give me just an example of a trick. Like a, you know.
Like a frontside 3 onto a rail.
Okay.
And then you frontside 3 again off the rail is just it's the frontside pull in general off the rail. Let's try again.
I think
Frontside
front
270 front board,
front 4.
pretzel front 4.
Yeah.
I could never see one again and I'd be fine.
Frontside 270 on, pretzel 450 out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Like any version of that.
Yeah.
I would much rather see
Well, it's a wind,
clean
unwind, and it's
handle
very,
pass and continue around. I know that people are like, oh, you're just spinning one
both
way.
ways, yeah.
But, like, I don't need you to spin both ways on the same rail.
Yeah.
But if you're hitting that rail, you don't have to do what I'm telling you, but, like, it looks better when you don't rewind. I mean, it's back to the rewind to get a little bit.
And a front board pretzel in snowboarding,
Unbelievable.
hardest trick, unbelievable. Looks good on a snowboard. Front board pretzel on a wakeboard is probably the easiest front board variation you can do.
Yeah.
Other than like a straight front board,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
I 100% agree
Front
with
board
that.
to switch is significantly more difficult.
Yeah. And but just in like full clarity here, if you can make it look really good, I will be stoked on it. But like, they just all look pretty similar. You're yanking that handle across and it's just like and I think passing the handle and continuing around for a 450 the same way is definitely much more appealing to watch and just my hot take.
Yeah, I like that. So I guess what would you say to the crowd that also says, well, I hate to see spin to win, and then now we do rewinds. So, well, I hate to see rewinds. Do you just hate to see the next thing coming?
It reminds me of snowboard big air and what's happening in that.
It's still spin to win.
It's still spin to win. You're just spinning one way, then you're spinning the other way.
So then what would we just now have to do flips only? Flips and
It's not flips only. I mean, I think that, and this is probably a hot take too.
See, now
And
this is where I was trying to go.
Yeah. It's the factor of how much does style matter versus difficulty.
Yeah.
And the complaints with snowboard big air that have been going on is, the podium last year was what, 21, 19, 18? Like that's the podium at X Games. It's flat spin to win. And I don't want wakeboarding to turn into that. I mean, it's bring the style, do a double grab, something or other, do a flip variation that's unique. And I personally, I mean, I didn't judge this. I'm not a judge. I don't claim to be a judge. I like stuff that looks good. And it's a subjective sport, so it can always go either way, and the criteria is based on what you lay the criteria out to be. But I prefer things that look better than how hard they are.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
It's hard to make things look better too. So there's that as well.
Yeah.
Like, I agree that it's spin to win, and I think the really underlying issue with the whole thing is that everyone is trying to essentially do the same things to try to beat each other. Where if you had that rewind from Trent in the finals, and you had a double roll to blind that also Trent can do and also Gavin can do, like, I would rather see that variation, like, across the board. Like, as a judge, it'd be much harder to, like, judge one versus the other. But when you're judging, like, a spin and a spin, and they're both in the same kind of vein, so same category, or, like, everyone's just kind of, like, emulating each other in a way. Like, I mean, like, and this is not shade. I love all these people in this contest, but this is just a direct example. Gavin, Preston, and Isaac were doing the exact same super technical trick on the relentless rail. Like 360 on, pull back lip on the up to flat, like, exactly. So, like,
is that an indictment on the riders or an indictment on the fact that those are very easy rails for them? And so they are forced into attempting to do what they view as the hardest thing possible.
I think that the creativity needs to be there. Like what he's saying, things that look good, that I think, and it's not an indictment on the riders, and it never was. It's just they're trying to, as a competition rider, you're trying to do the most technical, difficult thing to win. But, like, as, like, a creative rider, I'm looking at that and I'm like, what's the antithesis to that? Like, how can I do something that looks cooler and is really technically proficient? You know, like, that's like why I started doing, like, MJs, for example. It's like different variations. It's like, well, no one's really doing this. Not a lot of people are doing this.
Still difficult.
I'm sick of trying to, like, when I'm free riding or filming a clip or anything for Instagram or a video part or whatever, I'm not necessarily just trying to do, like, the most technical trick. I want, like, a little bit of the wow factor, but I also want to, like, do something that's different. And so, like, that kind of, it doesn't have to be that, but that kind of stuff where it's like, let me really, like, think of it like Case in Suterhoud's double shifty front seven. Like, nobody since him has done that in that way that looked that good since then. And, like, I'm sure people have, but, like, it was in his contest run, and it looked so good that, like, if he came out and did that versus, like, just a rip and grip 1080, I mean, that looks so much better in like a aesthetic way, and it is technically extremely difficult to, like, poke and hold while you're passing the handle 2 times and rotating 720 degrees, two pokes, 2 holds, and, like, things like that where it's like, how can I do better without just, like, in a way emulating the same thing or idea of the same thing, if that makes sense.
I mean, so I don't want to I keep bringing snowboarding in, but back to Big Air last year, like, I thought the Boosh Bomb, if he did one more 180, should have been on the podium. And then it wouldn't be, and that's a very unique trick. When Quinn, back in the day, you were doing those Japan Cork 9s, and, like, those are a really sick trick that not a lot of people do. And I think that you can bring the creativity in while keeping the difficulty level, but we need to just make a criteria, or just maybe have a contest that we lay it out in the riders meeting that it's more creative than
I think that's what you have to do.
I have an idea. We have a contest where any time a trick is done, it's off the board.
Yeah,
It'd be a sick one.
Nobody can do the same trick.
Yeah.
You still might get similar variations, but I think it'd just be fun.
Yeah, I think kickers that works really, really well for,
Yep.
for sure. I think that would be really interesting to do, especially for the jumps. I mean, I struggle with that a little bit. I'd probably push back on the idea that contests are not a showcase of style. Contests are a showcase for the most part. Obviously, you can create whatever contest you want with whatever parameters. For the most part, I want to see the craziest shit go down in a contest. I'm not necessarily looking at a contest to see the best grabbed version of a trick. Obviously, it's great to see. I want to see Preston do a fucking 1260. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see Trent do a double roll to blind. I want to see a rewind. I want to see a fucking double rewind. I want to see a 1080. Like, that's what I want to see when I go to a contest for the most part. When I watch a video part, I want to watch the most stylish stuff ever. Like, that's what I'm trying to look at for. Do I appreciate style in a contest? Absolutely. I love when I see Felix's name or Maddie's name or, some of these style gods' names in a contest, because I know that it's going to shake it up a little bit and I'm going to get something different than what everybody else is doing. But I also don't expect them to win, so it's, I don't know. It's kind of what you're trying to solve for.
You make a good point. I mean, I think there's just that balance between, and it's a subjective sport. It always comes back down to that. Yeah. But I think that, it's just that style versus difficulty piece and what weighs more. Yeah.
And I guess sometimes I hate to hear some of the, some riders be like, oh, fucking another 1080, like, blah, 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 another this, or that. It's like, well, dude, like, it's a contest. This guy's trying to win. And 1080 is fucking insane. Like, it's crazy what these guys are doing. So I guess I don't think you guys are discrediting what the guys are doing at all.
No, not at all.
But it's just interesting.
I agree I agree 100% with what your take is. My position is essentially, if everyone in that, finals or whatever can do it, do something else to stand out. Not that you have to do a video part trick, but like Preston's the only one who's doing a 1260 other than like maybe Trent or something, but like if you are the only two who can do it, then do it. But like if everybody just is like, oh, they did that, I have to do that a little better, it just kind of takes away from, like, I would rather see you do a completely different thing that's just as hard and see if that beats it.
I mean, when I watch Trent's riding, I pretty much watch all the events he's in that are live streamed, and he does different shit. Like,
I agree.
So
I know he does.
He
definitely
stuff.
does. I'm talking about the overall. I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about the overall field. Like, when it's just like everyone's trying to outbeat or like outride each other with like extremely similar runs, where it's like, I would like to see somebody do if somebody's going top shelf on like a kicker to ledge, I'd like to see somebody do like the most technical trick into the wall of that ledge because they think that they can do something cooler and better on that versus like I have to add a 180 or like a rewind to that same similar hit. Like, that's where I'm saying I don't think individually it doesn't need to change. I think it's just like the mentality of like, dang, that guy already did that. I need to like stand out completely on the other side.
Yeah, and I guess I see where you're coming from too, where it's like, I think that plays into setup a lot. Like, I think if we saw cables with setups that were truly insane, like, let's say you have two sections on a straight, if all four or all of these individual sections were uniquely insane in their own right, I think a lot of people would choose different lines and you'd have totally different stuff going on, and then it might come down to like, oh, is he going to land his back 9 on the kicker? Is he going to land his back 10 on the kicker? Is he going to land his Pete 5 on the kicker? Like, that's what I really don't – that's the part I don't love, is I guess where it's like, does a crazy run, oh, is he going to land his trick we already know he's going to do on the kicker?
It's more subjected to full cables because there's usually like a harder feature that everyone's trying to hit. And it's harder to like come up with the next hardest thing when somebody's doing the hardest thing. We're like, I mean, you're talking about like a straight line, like yard sale. It's like there's 4 or 5 rails here on that setup, 4 or 5 rails. So everyone's doing different lines. So in that case, it's a lot different. And like on those type of setups, it's a lot different. But like at a full cable, we have to cater to beginners, advanced, intermediate, like all of it. So generally there's like the most, and you're trying not to have like the most advanced things right next to each other when you're just a public cable, because you want there to be options for everybody. and you want them to be able to flow. So it's like you hit the advanced thing, and then like it's a beginner setup here, and then like if you have a contest, it's like, well, everyone's gonna skip the box, you know, because that's all that's in that section. So like you're wanting to have like something at every section. Generally, everyone's gonna gravitate towards that. But like when you're doing that, I feel like trying to stand out in a way that like still competes with everybody. I'm not saying like just do like a floaty like chicken salad glide. Instead of doing your super tech trick, but like I feel like there should just be some like upping the ante of like, oh, Preston did a 12, I'm gonna try a double mob because like he stepped it up there. I'm not gonna just try to do a grab 1080 to try to compete with Preston's ungrabbed 12 or whatever, you know, like he may even grab it, but whatever. It's like it's like trying to keep up with somebody versus trying to like stand out from somebody in the same technical difficulty sort of way, if that makes any sense. And it might not.
It kind of does, but I also just like trying to view it through the eyes of the contest rider where they're like, I'm trying to put down my best run to win. And it's like, if I don't have that trick on lock, I'm not going to try it because like I'm not going to land it. I'm not going to like put that risk in there. Like I traveled all this way to try and put down my best run. Like
For sure.
I don't necessarily feel like that's a good
but if you're practicing, everybody sees what everybody's doing, and it's like, oh, they're kind of going that route.
Yeah.
I'm going to go a route that's like going to kind of like twist the brain of the judge a little bit. It's like not that I want it to be harder as a judge, but like I really want to like really have to think about it instead of like these 3 rails were exactly the same. Who messed up more on that versus like these were like totally different but equally as difficult on the same rail. You know.
Yeah, and I think that comes into setup, like especially when it comes to like big dog, full size cable contests. I think the setups need to be like fucked up. Like I think they need to be insane. Yeah. Or like if we're talking about WWA Worlds or like, you know, LAO, like these things need to be fucked up, insane like setups. The lines need to be crazy. Like I need to be when I see that setup reveal, I need to be like, oh shit. I don't need to be like, okay, we got another couple of unit features put together. Like we need add-ons, we need shit like that. So yeah, that's a good, I agree with that for sure. All right, I mean, let's talk setup. What are you guys riding these days?
I am riding a 20, I don't know what year it is. I'm riding a 153 white XX, a duck board with the heritage boots on it.
Stance, angles, what do you got with?
I'm all the way in, ducked out a little bit.
All the way in, a little bit out.
Yep.
Okay. Quinn, what are you on?
I'm kind of bouncing between the Space Mob boots, and then I'm kind of bouncing between the 165 Space Melter and the Coalition one. I generally like the 157 a little bit more than the 161, but I have been riding this prototype 161 Coalition for 2027. We've made a couple changes to that one, and they're a little subtle, but like the difference is crazy. It's really, really fun. It's a pretty good fusion of those two boards, and so I've just kind of been bouncing between the two. When I'm in Valdosta, I've been riding that 161 prototype and loving it. If we're out in the streets, I'm usually rocking either the 57 Coalition or the 65 Melter.
Yeah, a lot of wakeboarding notoriously does get done in the concrete streets of, America. What boots do you got?
I didn't mean to say streets.
No, you did.
Hunter doesn't like when I say streets.
In the street.
In the canals.
When I am winching in the canals, creeks, or waterways, I generally like to do that.
What boots you got in stancing width and angle?
I think they're about 12 degrees angles. Of course, it's the Space Mobs, 2026 Space Mobs, the camo print. I think it's like it's about 12 degrees, and then I don't know the distance, but I am rocking it a little bit wider.
I got one more setup that I like to ride too.
Oh, okay.
The park skis, the wide park skis, the rental ones.
Mm-hmm.
I ride one of them, 26 miles an hour, swerve some features. Just
Swerving.
slalom ski style.
Yeah?
Yeah. The fins, they got to put some longer skegs on those things.
Skegs.
But other than that, can't complain.
Skegs. Do you start people on water skis here?
We don't.
Okay.
We just go the slow speed route, 2.0 to full size. We kind of skip the kneeboard. We tried a water ski night. Turnout was not that great. Water skiers in Kansas City, if you want to come out, let's run a water ski night. We turned it up to 26 miles an hour. Me, Colin Haas, and this local kid who's 6 years old, Everett, we had a great time. But more water skiers, get back on the cable.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. You might have to set up a time during the day where you kick that speed up, instead of slow ride, fast ski ride.
Yeah, put some buoys out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the features are buoys, basically.
I guess. But the only reason you can't put some buoys in, some fun spots, I guess.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time.
I mean, Europe does it.
Yeah.
There you go. Love it. Anything else? I mean, that's all I got. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on? Any hot takes? Any conversation points? Anything else?
I just want to touch on, I want to give a big thank you to everybody who made this contest happen. I was not going to throw this contest this year. I didn't think that we were ready for it. Sean really pushed me into throwing this contest this year. And thank you to Sean for that and pushing us to go hard. Thank you for all the resources, all the infrastructure, everything to be able to put this on. Thank you to Hayden Neuer. He was at Terminus. He's out here now, operations manager. He put so much work into this contest right alongside me. That's my right-hand man. Thank you to all the homies who helped. Cole McDaniel, Colin Didier, Colin Haas. Thank you to Cable School, Steve from Cable School for coming out, getting our cable dialed, dropping pulleys, doing bearings, whole 9 yards. Thank you to all the sponsors who were able to make the prize purse happen. Thank you to all the riders that came out and really made it such a fun event, and all the brands who supported. I mean, it was really insane. And judges too. Quinn, Gavin, and John. Thanks to Hunter giving us a platform as well.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely. Quinn, anything else you want to touch on here?
Yeah, Valdosta's hosting WWA Wake
Yeah,
Park
true.
Worlds
Yeah,
this
we
year.
touched on that a little bit, but I think maybe dive into that just
Yeah,
a hair.
we're they really pretty much were like, this is all in your hands. So it's going to be one of, if not the first, Wake Park Worlds where we have the majority of control on how everything goes, from format to everything. So we're going to be hosting Wake Park Worlds on the full cable October 8th to 11th, and then that following Wednesday we start yard sale. So if you are keen on Wake Park Worlds, you should stick around and try to qualify for yard sale that next Wednesday, and yard sale 8 coming up right after it. And, it's always been the best time, and we're super stoked. So, I don't really know what else to touch on as far as that goes, but
I got a question for you.
let's hear it.
So nobody really gives a shit about WWA Worlds from the pro side of things. So what are you guys going to do at Valdosta to make, get more people to go and kind of drum up the riders and draw some people in?
I mean, we're going to do it our way. So if you know anything about us, we're going to make it.
Can you tease anything? Anything you got,
We're building new stuff. We got new stuff in the works. We got a ton of materials. So I have several things that we have ready to be built. We've already built new stuff and try to make it as unique and technical as a format there's ever been for Worlds. And I mean, I really like the format here. So if the riders really like it too, we might have to, take some notes from this event, and we'll see what it is. But you know how we are. We want to do what the riders want to do. So I think that with that reputation, I think most people know that that's the vibe. So if there's anything specific that you're looking for, reach out. We'll listen. And yeah, like it's all in our hands as far as everything goes. Like, they legitimately when I made the graphic for the event, the WWA was like, no, we want it to say Valdosta take over. Like we want you to take this event over. So I was trying to be modest about it, but they were like, no.
Don't mince the words.
Yeah. So it's going to be a great time. And we're going to do it our way. And I think we've established that we're going to make the best event that we possibly can. And I think everybody's going to have fun. We got yard sale the next week. Yard sale's on the 2.0. Let's just imagine yard sale on the full cable, and we'll call that Worlds. So that's kind of how my brain's going for it. And I think we can make something super special and try to like bring some life back into that whole thing. It was not something that we paid for. It's something that we want to be able to make wakeboarding better. Like we want it to, if there's a world championship, we want to make it the best possible thing that you can do. And I think that our reputation kind of has shown that that's usually where our hearts are and where we're trying to take things. So if you want to come. I mean, otherwise you'll wish you did. And Hunter will probably be there doing a little grab contest too, I would imagine. Grab World Tour, because he can't come to yard sale.
Are you going to do 2 grab contests, one for Worlds and one for yard sale, back-to-back weekends?
I can't be at yard sale this year, so it won't be at yard sale. And we'll see about the WWA situation. I'm not sure. But that's should go for sure.
Is grab contest going to be sanctioned by the WWA?
You will be doing drug tests. You have to test positive. I don't know. That's do you have any idea on the purse at all for Worlds?
We're working on it. They're giving us what they would have. They're giving us what they would have, and we're trying to raise what we can raise. Yeah. It's tough out there to get money from people in this industry. People tell you to make higher purses at contests. You run the contest. You got a million things on your plate to like do a contest. Raising the purse, you get a lot of no's, you get a lot of maybes, you get a lot of yeses, and they don't respond. It's just, that's how it is. So, there will be a purse and there will be money to be made, but if you want to bitch about the prize money to anybody, you don't need to bitch to me, because I know I've been one to want the money too. So I want it just as bad as you, and we will do everything we can to make it as big as we can. But there is already a purse, and there will be more. So we're working on that. But as far as like the event goes, it's gonna be one for the books. I think we're trying to make it the best one of all time. And then on top of that, I would just like to thank Todd for having me out to this event. It was an amazing event. It was super fun to just see where this community is. I haven't been here. I stopped through way back in the day. It was like middle of the night, snow on the fucking water. It was like,
wait a minute.
It snows here.
Snow on the water.
Yeah, snow. It was ice and snow on the water.
Yeah. We were frozen solid for 2 weeks last winter.
Could you ice skate on it?
There was 6 inches of snow on top of the ice, but
anyway, sorry.
No, this was like 2007, and I was driving to Washington and stopped by, and it was like 2 a.m. I was like, oh, there's a cable park. All right, see ya. So since then, having been here is really cool.
Wow, 20 years later.
The infrastructure here is awesome. The pro shop's awesome. The boathouse is awesome. Back deck, lots of space. I'm really happy for Todd that he is able to work at a place like this and like have his spin on it. I know it's going to be great, and I just look forward to the future of what he's going to do here and things that we can do together and hopefully collaborate. And thanks to Todd, the whole crew here, Hayden, all the other judges, the riders, the community. It was popping. There's a lot of people who I heard showed up who hadn't been here in like 12 years. They were like, oh, this is my first time coming here, and since I was a kid, and I just like had to come and see what this was all about. So I think that's really that shows that it's really special.
Kind of proves the point there for sure.
The insane stuff here too is the generational stuff. This cable opened in 2004. the guys who used to work out here and ride out here who now are bringing their kids out here. And that's really, I think, what wakeboarding in America needs is to be able to build that generational thing. And we got to keep parks open. We got to keep them alive to be able to have that where, hey, I used to be a rider. Now I'm bringing my kid out here and they're a rider. And I think that really just, it's really cool to see here. And that's my first experience with that. But, I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun to watch because it's like a legacy brand, you know. It's like KC Water. When I was coming up, is like you said it earlier, is the fourth cable in the U.S. And I mean, like it was like coming up KC Watersports, Texas Ski Ranch, Wake Nation, all the like OW and Rickson and like the parks that like started it all here. This was like one of those, and then it just
it's just like kind of out here. Not, not.
And it just kind of wasn't a making a big shake up in the scene, but they have a big local scene, so like they didn't really need to be like in the industry. They had it going on their own, and now we have somebody like Todd who's like more forward thinking, more progressive, and like in the world of like what we do. So I think it's only going to be up and up and up from here. And then I want to thank Grab Matters for having us on. Oh, come on, man. And Wakeboarding is Dead. And it's a good it's a good opportunity
right there. I like that.
I'm not. Wakeboarding is dead. I wish I was.
And I meant to say wakeboarding is dead.
For the listeners, he's just pointing at Todd and himself. Thank you guys for coming on. This was a blast. Great contest. I wasn't sure what to expect, to be honest, coming into it, because every time someone, throws their first contest, not like I've been to a lot of first contests, but like, you never know what's going to happen. There's a lot of variables. I mean, when you threw the first yard, so I'm sure it was like, oh shit. But I mean, I think you guys nailed it. I came into it blind. I would have guessed this was your third or fourth one at that point, where it seems like everything was pretty dialed. I mean, from the format to, the setup, you did the best with what you got, and I'm sure it's going to get better as, you get more time here, you put more rails in and stuff. The bar here is great. The community showed up, and it was kind of exactly what you want. I just want this at every cable park in America, maybe around the world, but I just want everyone to do their one thing a weekend a year and just fucking go all out. Like, this is exactly what you guys did. You went all out, and I think that's exactly, like, the proof's in the pudding. It pays off. So hopefully we see more of this stuff, happening in the future. So thank you guys for coming on. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.